Are you starting your cannabis business journey and don't know where to start in structuring, hiring, and finding the right cannabis professionals for your business? In less than 10 minutes, I'm going to step you through the exact method on how to build your compliance, operations, and inventory teams to find the most perfect cannabis professionals for your business, ultimately saving your business thousands of dollars and decreasing employee labor costs by decreasing employee turnover. Hey, my name's Bree. I'm a cannabis compliance expert and I help build and scale stronger cannabis compliance teams. If you want to learn more on how I can help you, click the link below to learn more about RMCC's online certification program. So step number 1, let's talk about gross revenue versus payroll percentage. You can't hire anyone if you don't know how much money you're making. So first, let's take a look at your current or projected revenue if you're still in the application phase trying to obtain your cannabis business. We're going to take a look at your gross revenue or gross income per month. Did you know that most industries operate on a 30% payroll expense compared to their gross income? That's a key performance indicator that you need to be aware of. But in cannabis, we have high taxes, high fees, and 280E compliance that we must comply with. So you should have a goal of closer to 15% of payroll expense for your salary employees and closer to 8% of payroll expenses compared to your gross income for your hourly employees. To break this down, let's take a look at small, medium, and large businesses. So first, let's define small, medium, and large cannabis businesses. I personally define a smaller cannabis business as making about $100,000 of gross revenue per month or less. For salary individuals, this would equate to about $15,000 of revenue attributed to the payroll for your salary employees. And let's say you pay these individuals $60,000 a year. This would equate to about 3 salary employees could be in your operation for this smaller business. Now let's take a look at a medium-sized business. A medium-sized business I define as making about $500,000 per month. And you would be able to attribute $75,000 per month for your salary employees if you are attributing 15% of your gross income to your salary payroll expense. And let's say you're paying these individuals $80,000 a year. You would be able to hire 11 salary employees for middle to upper management for your medium-sized cannabis business. And now let's look at large cannabis businesses. So a large cannabis business I define as making about $1 million a month. And that would be equated to $150,000 per month that you can attribute to your payroll expense for your salary employees at 15% of your gross income. And let's say you're paying those individuals $120,000 per year. Then you would be able to hire 10 salary employees at this salary amount. Now, we do need to also account for benefits, taxes. So really, if you're paying someone $120,000, in reality, you're probably paying close to $160,000 for that person. But for this exercise, we're looking at 15% of salary employees based off of your gross income. And this is an example of small, medium, and large and how you would be able to position your different salary expenses, also your salary amount to help recruit better employees for your business. Now, step number 2, we need to take a look at team structure. And you need transparency and accountability in your business. For the cannabis industry, it's been observed that 60% of employees leave after the first 90 days in a new company. And 85% of new employees feel that there is a lack of onboarding structure and organization upon entering a new company. So ask yourself, while building your team to have efficient team structure, 1, is there anything I can do during the onboarding process to make it as easy as possible for these new employees when they're joining your company? 2, is there an overlap in positions? Is someone completely siloed? And if they turned into a rogue employee, would this be detrimental to your business? I cannot stress this enough. You need to consider internal checks and balances within your team to always validate accurate workflows to stay in compliance. You should also consider what operational compliance and revenue key performance indicators, or KPIs, to review consistently to determine if the individual is completing their job up to your standard. This leads to detailing this standard that you expect with this job in your job descriptions and goals for your employees to have as a North Star, something that they can try and achieve based off of the expectations that you want to see within that job. If you don't know what compliance roles should be in your cannabis business, whether you're just starting out or have been operational for multiple years, or if you are even a small or large enterprise, register for my 1-hour live compliance workshop, where I unpack how to build, structure, and train a comprehensive cannabis compliance team in less than 4 months. Click the link below to register for this free webinar. Now that you know what your team structure is to look like, build a mock organizational chart to help you explain your needs and wants to a recruiting firm. There are plenty of really great recruiting firms out there. And yes, of course, you can hire off of any standard job website or even Craigslist. However, when you are hiring executives and upper management, I feel it's best to reach out to cannabis recruiting firms like Vanxt or FlowerHire. If you want to navigate this on your own, that's totally fine. Just ensure to have a list of interview questions and many questions that will make the individual think outside the box and on their toes. This is cannabis, so we all are wearing a lot of hats and have to problem solve every single day. Ideally, you will find a self-starter, a motivated individual who you do not have to micromanage and can take the initiative to move projects along without your direction. You want someone you can trust, willing to adapt, and put in the long hours. And most importantly, I feel emotionally intelligent. Our day-to-day is intense, emotional, and overwhelming. You want a good team player who is willing and happy to wear multiple hats. It's just the name of cannabis. I've seen multiple people transition into cannabis only to go back to the real world within a few short years. And my fourth tip for you is to focus on the compliance role, specifically the compliance officer, which I have seen this synonymous with licensing and compliance officer or VP of government affairs. Ask yourself, what are your expectations? What are you expecting them to do? And is there even enough time in the day to be able to accomplish your needs? Be very mindful of this. On average, I've seen compliance officers only last 6 to 9 months in a role because they get burned out because there's too much on their plate. So ask yourself, are you expecting them to renew your license each year? Or maybe even expecting them to obtain a brand new license in a new county or state? Second, be the liaison for the business, requiring them to attend state and traceability meetings or even lobbying days. Or number 3, establish relationships with regulators, which really is a must for the role, but just keep this in the back of your mind. You are asking a lot when you're asking them to do all of these things. And if you're also asking them to train your entire team or develop the training plan, or even complete facility, record retention, and inventory audits, then your red flag should be going off. If you're expecting them to do all of these things, then they will get burned out. And they're probably also going to be a resource for the entire team to have support and bounce questions off and make sure that workflows are compliant. So again, you're asking them to be this major supportive role while protecting your business and establishing relationships and audit the business. It's a lot to ask. So just make sure that your expectations are not through the roof, so that way your compliance officers can actually do a well job for your business. And moving on to tip number 5, technology tools. Notice I said tools here, not your crutch to lean on and never verify. Depending on your cash flow, consider getting a cannabis-specific tool, such as like a point of sale, ERP, or even a compliance regulatory platform like ProCanna. But at the very bare minimum, you need a project management tool. Don't rely on like Slack or emails, or some other form of communication that's a revolving door of information. You also need a company dashboard for important communication and a centralized library for resources by job title. And then finally, a source of communication. Your employees will appreciate this. Give them a tool such as Slack to communicate with them and to try and keep their personal life and their business life separate. They will definitely be very happy with that work-life balance. But again, like I already mentioned in this section of this tip, do not rely on that. You need other tools to help communicate different tasks. And if you want to know the exact blueprint to build, scale, and train your entire team on a proven 4-step method to create a cannabis compliance program in your cannabis business in under 4 months instead of years, watch this video and register for my live workshop. And even if you can't make the live event, go ahead and register. You will receive a replay of that workshop. And don't forget to subscribe below for weekly cannabis business and compliance tips and also monthly regulatory updates by state. See you on the other side.